G'day there guys, it's Connie here again from Marquee Industries and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. Sorry for the brief hiatus there, but it was my birthday on the weekend. Anyway, feeling relaxed and refreshed, and let's get straight to the stories. Alrighty friends, we are on relationships. This one was written by user 48 hours and counting, and it's titled, Me with my live-in boyfriend of 9 months. I don't know if I can handle his insane workaholic lifestyle. My boyfriend Jake and I have been together for 9 months, living together for 6 of them. We've known each other for a year and a half. As I write this, he's been at work for 50 hours and counting. He was supposed to come home for an hour last night to refresh, but didn't show. I don't know if this difference in values is something that can be overcome. I've always known that Jake has ambition and drive. It attracted me to him. I respect that he is a hard worker and will do what needs to be done to get where he wants to go. The problem is, when we got together, he was working a job where he didn't see a future. Shortly after we moved in, he got a new job where he anticipates growth. Everything changed. His job uses him. He works shift work and is constantly put into situations where he's set up to fail. They have an event coming up, which has resulted in him working something like 25 days in a row, voluntarily, including this current 50-hour stretch. If you have to work, no overtime pay, for over 50 hours straight to be successful, you shouldn't be in that job. That's my very strong opinion. When we started dating, our sex life was great. Then it crashed and burned to nothing. When I've expressed this, he's accused me of thinking sex is everything, or thinking that everything is always going to be perfect. We've had sex once or twice in the last 3 months. He tells me it's because I don't initiate, which I'm working on. But how do you initiate when your partner is always exhausted, or at work, or feeling sick because he's at work so much that all he eats is crap? We don't sleep in the same bed. He sleeps on the couch every single night because he wakes up early and goes to bed late, if he's at home. I've asked him to share a bed with me. That's happened once in the last 2 months. Anytime I bring anything up, he gets so defensive. I don't know how to get around that. I get made to feel guilty for not supporting him. And you know what? No, I don't support him anymore. I think he's making terrible decisions for himself and for us. I tried to support him for a long time and wound up giving all of myself and feeling unvalued and unwanted. While I was supporting him, when I brought up my concerns, in a nice way, honestly, it all got turned around on me. When he wasn't a workaholic, we were fantastic. We still have our moments. I thought he was the one. Everything was different with him. He warned me that when he started his new job he would work a lot of hours, but I didn't anticipate this. I feel like my own boyfriend doesn't want me. Sex is huge to me. I've been in a sexless relationship before, and I don't want that. I feel like he devalues it so that he doesn't have to try or feel guilty. My biggest concern is that every time he finishes one mountain at work, something else is thrown at him. Will this ever change? Even when he gets promoted, I'm sure it will happen, his work will be similar. I love him. I love him as a person. I hate the decisions he's making and the lifestyle he's choosing for himself and for us. I get working hard, I do. I don't know if I can handle this. Has anyone been in a situation like this before? Do you have any suggestions on how to handle this? My coping right now is basically to not give a crap about what he's doing or what he's up to, but then I start crying that that's what my relationship has become. I think it's ridiculous that he's been at work for over 2 days, but at the same time, I don't care. Has anyone been through anything like this before? Wow, I mean some people, and it sounds like this guy fits into that category, have an unhealthy obsession with working, and it's not exactly a problem you can change overnight, that's for sure. Let's read some of the comments. You've been dating this guy 9 months. 3 of them before you lived together were great. The rest of the time, 2/3 of the time you've been dating and all of the time you've lived together, you've been unhappy and unsatisfied. And based on your description, he is uninterested, unwilling, or outright hostile about your attempts to communicate with him about your dissatisfaction. The purpose of dating is to find out if you're right for each other. You've spent more time with him unhappy than happy, and the longer you stay together, the unhappier you become. Newsflash, you've found out he's not the right guy for you. Don't bother with cancelling. He's showing you every day how he is. Don't try to change him. Just end it and find someone you're actually compatible with. This relationship has taught you that you're not compatible with a workaholic. This is great. Now you know that about yourself. Carry on. Opie replies, "Good way of describing it. That's what I'm concerned about. I guess I'm just having a tough time internally separating the version of him when he's well rested and spends time with friends, and the version of him who's overworked and exhausted, and saying that who he really is the overworked and exhausted guy. It's like when he's satisfied in his life outside of work, he's unsatisfied at work, and vice versa, and maybe I'm seeing where his priorities lie." The commenter replies back, "Maybe you'd be better off as friends. Then you could enjoy his company when he's well rested and unstressed, like his other friends do. If you've been together 10 years and this behaviour was new in the last 6 months with a new job, I could see investing time in counselling, etc. But this is a new relationship, and he's acted this way most of your relationship. I don't see the benefit in investing work here. Dating is like taking a relationship for a test drive. If this were a car you were test driving, would you buy it? You liked it in the parking lot, but it turns out you don't like the way it handles on the road. Do you look under the hood and tinker with the engine? No, you thank the dealership for the opportunity to try it out, give back the keys, and walk away. No hard feelings. You tried it out, and you're just not right for each other. Walk away." "You guys do not seem like you're sexually or emotionally compatible anymore. Have you tried to communicate all you've told us to him? I would consider getting couples counselling together." Edit, also 50 hours, no sleep. When he does sleep, it's on the couch. Lack of sex. I had to plant the seed, but are you positive he is working? Opie replies, "I've communicated on several occasions. He strongly dislikes these talks, and it usually winds up being turned back on me. Example, sex isn't everything, or the one person who's supposed to support me doesn't. I even got the, you think sex is more important than the relationship. I've tried approaching it nicely, and I've had my moments where it's just hit me at once, and I burst. I understand that he's tired all the time, and having a nagging girlfriend doesn't help. Once he blew up at me because I asked him to rinse some dishes, but that means there's never an appropriate time, to him, to have these conversations. He did initiate sex on Valentine's Day though, and then used that later as a reason why I can't say I'm unsatisfied with our sex life. And yes, I'm positive. I get Snapchats and pictures from work sometimes during these stretches. I honestly don't know how he's alive right now." Yikes, girl. You know how people say relationships rely on communication? That's actually true. Otherwise, you have a problem, and it's just your problem. If he won't listen or care about your feelings, then you have to live with things just the way they are, because there's no other recourse. Opie replies, "There have been times where he's shown he listens. He just doesn't in the moment when I'm trying to talk. Some actions afterward will show he's heard and is trying, like washing some dishes or complimenting me a bit more and honking my boobs. I appreciate the effort to show he notices me. But this is also the only relationship I've been in where we'll have an argument, he'll leave the room in the middle, and he went 3 days without attempting any communication. I sent a few texts and left some notes, but didn't go overboard because he's been upset before if we have a fight and I send a text like everything's good. But he doesn't like fighting over text either, and we went 3 days without seeing each other because of his work. When I write it out, it seems like such a mess. He's a good guy, he really is, but this is very unhealthy, isn't it?" And when asked if the boyfriend is a shift worker and working overtime, she says, "He is salaried. He's not being made to work those hours. He is because he wants to ensure everything is done and done properly. He does run a risk of disciplinary action if his area of responsibility isn't up to standard." Yeah, it's way too much. And yeah, like Opie's coming to realise, this is definitely unhealthy. I mean, just reading about the way he shuts down whenever she tries to bring up relationship problems is extremely immature, and it feels like Opie's contradicting herself about him every second sentence. Let's go to an update 5 days later. We broke up. One night at 7 o'clock, he woke up after another incredibly long shift, and I was crying. I said that I thought we may be incompatible with our lifestyles and priorities, that I wanted to make it work if we could find a way, but we seemed so different. After going out for a smoke, he came back and started looking up rental apartments on his computer, right in front of me without saying a word. I called him out on it, asked him what kind of person did that without even saying a word to their girlfriend. He told me I'd already made the decision that we didn't work, that our lifestyles were too different. I told him that no, I said I wanted to make it work. I asked if he had any solutions. He said nothing. I asked if I was going to always be the only person to come up with solutions because that puts a lot of pressure on me. He said, "No, I get it. You feel like I don't exist. You're making me feel like crap. I get it."
I kept emphasizing that I wanted to find a way to make it work. He asked me what would I do if things got worse. He asked, "What would you do? Cry every day and yell at me?" That's when I told him I was done. I was done being the bad guy for having feelings. I was done being the only person trying. I was done being blamed for everything, from lack of sex, my fault for being so terrible with how I initiate, to me beating him home on my birthday. Apparently I left work early so he couldn't have my present ready, even though I didn't and I wasn't remotely upset about it. And we're done. He's moved out. I'm devastated but also relieved. I'm not always wondering when my boyfriend is going to be home and how I can make our time count. I'm not always wondering if we're going to work out, because I know we won't. Despite crying a lot at work today, I feel lighter. I feel more optimistic. I desperately miss how we were when he wasn't working all the time, but that was so long ago. It feels like that relationship already died. I want to thank everyone for their advice. We just weren't compatible, and you were right. It wasn't just the work life that was doing it. It was the inability to communicate. I deserve better than being accused of making him feel like crap anytime I express an emotion other than joy about being with him. I'm proud of myself. Yeah, I feel like this relationship will be one Opie looks back on in a couple of years and goes, "Thank God that ended when it did." Let's read some final comments. Quote, "There have been times where he's shown he listens. He just doesn't when I'm trying to talk. I can't." I hope the boyfriend feels it's worth it. Otherwise, what's the frickin' point? Honestly, the job will never love you back. The boss wouldn't even pat you on the back if you're upset about the breakup. They're just going to tell you to stop crying. They want the new memo on their desk. I worked like a dog in 2016 too, salaried with no overtime. Since then, I think there's been a shift in the workforce, and most have realised that the reward for working quickly and efficiently is often just more work. Hustle culture was a real thing for millennials. I think even if he hadn't gotten this job, the relationship was doomed. They didn't share the same priorities, and he couldn't communicate in a healthy way. If it wasn't that job, some other stressor would have happened at some point, and all of this would have come to light then. Yeah, I tend to agree with that sentiment. What about you guys? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, that's it for that story, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, well, over on Am I the A-Hole, this one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend after I found out she slept with someone while dating and lied about it?" When I first started dating my now ex and asked her if she wanted to be exclusive, I asked her 2 questions. 1, was she seeing anyone else? She said no. And 2, has she slept with anyone else while dating me? She said no. She did ask me why I asked her that. I told her that I believe that if you sleep with someone else when dating others, that makes us incompatible. Because to me, that means she either doesn't see sex the same way I do, or if she does see it the same way I do, then it means she chose someone else over me. We hadn't slept together by then, by the way. So after that, we were together for about a year and some months. I found out that she had in fact slept with someone else while dating me. Honestly, there wasn't anything she could have said, but I figured I should have let her talk. She said it meant nothing and that she didn't want that to ruin a good thing, and that I shouldn't let something so meaningless ruin our relationship. I told her that she lied to me and that I was very clear on my end. I told her we were done. She kept insisting that our relationship is good and that it was a good thing she lied. I told her I'm not going to reward her lying. I do feel kind of guilty, to be honest, but she lied to me when I was as clear as possible. Am I the a-hole? That's weird. Yeah, I mean, regardless of if you agree with his, morals surrounding dating, I think the fact that she lied was the big problem here, but you can kind of see why she did as well. It was more or less an ultimatum. I mean, I don't know where I stand on this, honestly. Like, obviously Opie is well within his rights to dump her, but I don't know. Is this an overreaction? Let's go to the comments. How did Opie find out? I caught her in a lie about our dating life and another guy she was seeing. She said she hadn't slept with someone else besides me since sometime before her birthday, and we dated around her birthday, so I thought something was freaky. Not the a-hole. How did they not realise saying it was meaningless makes it so much worse? She literally threw away a good relationship for meaningless sex. Opie replies, well, to me, it doesn't have much of a difference. Meaningless sex. Well, she doesn't see sex as intimate as me because I don't believe in meaningless sex when looking for a relationship. meaningful sex, she had a close connection with someone else, and for some reason it didn't work out, leaving me a second choice. She did, lol, facepalm. You weren't exclusive. She didn't cheat on you. You literally said you would have broken up with her if she was honest to begin with, so you do have an issue with her having a partner prior to your relationship being exclusive. She chose you in the end, and you still broke up with her, lol. Dumb. By having the conversation about being exclusive, you would understand that up until that point, you were both free to do what you want. If she cheated after the conversation about being exclusive, that's one thing, but what she does prior to that is her business, honestly. No offense, but you seem unreasonable and insecure based on your posts and following comments. Opie replies, quote, she chose you in the end and you still broke up with her, lol. She chose the other guy first, otherwise why would she sleep with him? Either that or sex doesn't have any meaning to her, which is also a deal breaker. The commenter retorts, so, by your standards, it's okay if she dated guys while you were just dating, but it wasn't okay if she slept with any of them. And you think that because you didn't sleep with her until you became exclusive with her that she should have known that? I think I understand. But if that's the case, you're going to have a hard time in today's dating dynamic. A lot of girls today are likely sleeping with guys they're dating until somebody they're exclusive with comes up. I'm not going to judge your choice, but I'm just telling you it's not really realistic today. So if you get to the point where you start going out with another woman more than 1 or 2 dates, I would make that known pretty quick. Opie replies, it's my standard, and I keep this simply because I refuse to be anyone's second choice. By the way, if we get to the point where we're about to sleep together, I make this known. My now ex never wanted to sleep with me before I asked for exclusivity. Wait, are you strictly looking for virgins only? Is that your definition of not being second choice here? And at this point, your future girlfriend will be your second choice because you just dumped your first choice. Might want to think about that. Opie says, no, if you're dating person A and person B at the same time and sleep with person A before person B, to me that means you like person A more, making person B your second choice. If it doesn't work out and you stop dating both person A and B, then move on to C and D, it doesn't matter to me what happened to person A and B, because it's a fresh start with person C and D. Does that make sense? To me, it's only a second choice if you have sex with another person while dating others. Whew, wrap your noggin around that. Alright, onto an update, 8 days later. So, my now ex came by to my place to pick up her things. Or well, at least that's what I thought she was doing. She said she still wanted to talk about us, that she wanted to stay together, and asked for a chance to hear her out. Against my better judgment, I agreed. I think on some level I'm hoping to find something to change my mind. Despite what I may seem like, I do love her, but I don't think I can trust her anymore. Sadly, nothing she said really changed my mind. She actually used a lot of the arguments I heard in the last comment section. She told me that she knew the other guy better, but liked me way more, and that our relationship was way better than anything she had with the other guy. I told her that didn't change my mind, because in my mind, she chose him before me. She told me that wasn't the case, and then I straight up asked her why she slept with him before me then. She told me that it was just different and that it wasn't a comparison. I told her I didn't believe her. She then asked me what I expected her to do. If she told the truth, I would have broken up with her, and she lied, I'd have still broken up with her. At that point, I knew I just wasted my time talking to her, and I asked her to leave. Thanks for all the support, to be honest. I think my last post made me feel more ready for my ex's visit. One comment says, I'd like to offer an alternative take. You may not like it. You two were not exclusive when she slept with this other person, correct? She didn't cheat on you. Granted, she lied, which is not great, but I think this could be salvageable if that's the only thing she lied about, never saw him again after you were exclusive, and hasn't lied about anything else. Clearly, she was afraid of losing you and the option of being exclusive by telling you. Maybe she didn't know you were as serious about her as she was with you in the beginning. You could give her a tiny bit of grace here. Opie says, I told her I was looking for a serious relationship from the start. I was never unclear in my intentions. She said she was looking for the same. Another comment says, I'm glad you stood your ground and didn't feed into her BS. I hope you find someone that actually respects the relationship. Best of luck to you. Another comment adds, unpopular opinion, I think Opie put her in an impossible position with an insecure question before they were ever committed. It was really none of his business what she had done and who she'd been with, and a gotcha question. Strange as it seems, she lied because she loved him and wanted to be with him. Life and love is complicated, children. I think he's the a-hole. Opie replies, quote, was really none of his business what she'd done and who she'd been with. Something I learned is that people love to use this excuse as an excuse. They don't want to face consequences for it because they know it's an extremely unattractive trait. People want romance in their life, and it's hard to be romantic to someone you know is sleeping with others. So instead of changing your behavior, you hope that they don't ask, and if they do ask, then it's none of their business. Seeing the divide in the comments, I think a lot of it just comes down to different people's own experiences with dating. To some people, going on casual dates with different people in a short amount of time is completely mundane, and it's just how it's done. They're testing the waters and trying to find the right person. They're not as emotionally invested in every interaction with every person. If one person's a dud, they'll try the next one. It's hard to find the right person in a world full of weirdos. To others, the idea of having a potential relationship with just one person is a massive deal to them, so of course they're completely invested from the get-go. They commit early to the idea of making it work, of even getting to the point of conversation and going on a date is a huge milestone to them. Interacting with multiple potential partners at once just isn't something that they experience. In fact, it's pretty much alien to them, and this shapes their expectations. It's more of a spectrum with most people falling somewhere between the two ends. Both are completely valid, and neither is better than the other, but these opposites can often clash, and not just with sex like in OP's example. The takeaway in this was that they both wasted their time. If she'd been honest, the year they had been together could have been used to find someone else. Opie pretty much told her what the deal breaker was for him, and she lied. The point wasn't about her sleeping with another dude before going exclusive with him, it's the fact that she lied when he asked and went ahead to waste that year while keeping the lie buried. Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well. But yeah, a lot of divide in the comments. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Anyway guys, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.